Studies show vaccinated pregnant people could transfer antibodies to their newborns, and Trace remained in the hospital to get oxygen support until CJ arrived, but was able to get her first shot before he was born. I wanted him to have as much protection as possible. CJ was almost a month early and is thriving. I always said, if I make it out of here, I'm going to share my story because people need to know that this is.
Well, evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
There we go. Well, we need one more committee member to gain a quorum. I know that Charlie is indisposed, so he won't be here. But wait a couple
Jason
minutes.
said he was coming.
Okay. Yeah, Jason's coming aboard.
Hey there, everybody.
Howdy.
Hello. Good. How you doing? Sorry I was late to the party.
It's all right. It's all hinged on your attendance to proceed forward anyway. So, no, not to make you nervous or anything.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So we can get started here, and if anybody else comes in, I'll let them in. But so for a roll call for members, we got Jason and Leo and Linda and Kevin. For old business, the first one, 2.1, is Diamond View Park improvements update. So as if you've been by there recently, you know the sidewalk's been poured, and that happened some time ago. And then a little interruption by the gales and Quist fire, and then contractors finally got to work on the pavilion. But as part of that, Eugene offered to come in, and as you know, we integrate a pump track in with the whole park, and we want to make sure we do it right. So I'd like to ask Eugene to kind of give his vision of what he's looking at for a pump track and how we can sort of achieve that to make it the best we can make it at the park. So Eugene, over to you.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would love to see a pump track just buffed out and made nice over there. What we have is actually a decent start leading into a good pump track. And I'd say just some of the key elements that we'll be looking for is an area that's free of rocks or any kind of sharp debris. So I would say one of our priorities right away would be to try and get as many of the rocks cleaned up and out of there as we can. And then a pump track really just consists of rolling terrain and berms at the end. And the most important thing is the spacing and the height of the berms or the rollers as well. And that's just something that we need to get ideally a mini excavator in there, or maybe a backhoe to do. Mini X's work well because they're just small enough to get in the terrain. A little easier, but I'm sure a good backhoe operator could do the job. So yeah, just I think now that we have the sidewalks in place and the pavilion there, it's a lot easier to understand what the site looks like and feels like, and what would be a good orientation for any bicycle related features. I think for everybody's sake, we should try to utilize some of the existing features if we can to save labor. And there's really a lot of dirt there already. So yeah, just trying to sift through the rocks and then lay out probably an oval would make the most sense to me. And that's about what I got for you at the moment, Brian. I don't have a specific site plan drawn up. I think now that the infrastructure that's there is there, maybe the thing to do would be to meet over there with some of you guys in person and just kind of look at where the sidewalk is and what makes sense in terms of, spacing between the pump track and the sidewalk and the pavilion, so nothing feels crowded and we create a safe space. And I would think we'd probably want to orient that towards kids of the age to maybe 4 years old to 15 years old are the kids I mostly see using that facility. So kind of gearing it towards something that would work for that age group, and just making sure that we give adequate spacing between the pedestrians and the bikers and think about traffic flow.
Well, Eugene, thank you so much. This is Jason. I think I'm in full support of this project, and of course, and especially with the advent of I guess NICA being here too. Like, this is a little practice course.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so yeah, this is a win-win. I mean, I think it's something that would be a big addition to our community. It's already been there. It's already been established as a pump track for years, and just to be able to bring it back bigger, or not necessarily bigger and better, but like definitely better than ever would be awesome.
Super. Thanks for your support, Jason.
Yeah, I'll second that. Really look forward to having it shaped up and useful for the neighborhood and for the NICA team and visitors.
Yeah, as a 48-year-old, I'll be using it myself.
Yeah, likewise.
Brian, I have a question. Is the contractor responsible for cleaning up his piles of dumped mix on the site and bringing the ground closer to the edge of the concrete so we don't have that 3.5-inch drop off?
I'll have to talk with Robert and see what the discussion was when they talked about laying the sidewalk and how to leave it. But so I don't have an answer for you, but it's easy enough to find out. And maybe Robert intended to take care of that when we started moving dirt around to create the rolling hills. So let me chat with him, but he's on leave going hunting for a bit, so it might be a little while. Yeah, that's great. Eugene, those rocks, are they kind of hand-sized rocks? Are they big boulders you're talking about, or what? And mostly,
There's everything from, pebbles, hand-sized rocks, all the way up to stuff that's probably 12 to 16 inches in diameter.
yeah. Well, when I was a
And
kid,
it's just all mixed in,
yeah, when I was a kid, we lived on a camp road that used to get filled with rocks, and they would entice us to help the effort by not telling us we're going to a rock concert. And sure enough, we went to a rock concert as we dumped rocks into a trailer. So maybe we can convince some of the users to come to an alternative rock concert and help at a weekend or something.
Yeah, I think we could do that for sure. Yeah, it's just some rocky ground. We've cleared a lot of rocks out of there over the years, but as all the ground got disturbed again, everything that was underneath came to the surface, and there's a lot.
So Eugene, would it be useful to use rocks as like some of the foundation for some of the humps and stuff, or not really?
Generally, what I've found is no, because what ends up happening is they're in there, and then if you want to change it, which does happen in these places, you use it for whatever, couple 5 years, and you decide to mix it up, make it something a little bit different, then you just unbury all the rocks that are in there. And they also tend to just work their way to the surface. So the more of them we can get out of there, the better. There's still going to be a lot of rocks over there, even if we try and remove everything that we can, because underneath each of the piles are where the rocks
more
are.
rocks.
That's, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with they tend to work their way up to the surface.
For sure. So, I don't have a good way to remove those rocks. We can probably dump them down there behind the mercantile. That's been pretty cool with the owner down there for years. So we'd have to check with them about that. But in terms of actually picking them up, loading them, transporting them, that's something that I don't have figured out.
I had a quick question following up on what Leo said. It's a little bit of a rough site at the moment. And was there a plan for landscaping or vegetation kind of between the sidewalk to the bathroom and then toward the pump track?
No, I don't think in the original contract, we were kind of just focused on getting the basics there. We didn't really go into the landscaping yet. Not to say that it couldn't be done. We might have some leftover funds after we look at what the pavilion costs.
Mm-hmm.
If in fact we do, we could push some of that towards landscaping.
Well, yeah, these days, because of maintenance costs, I imagine, and just for safety, so there's not a place to hide in the trees or whatever, so that there's a clear view of what's going on in the pavilion and so forth. I imagine it could just be some low stuff or something that doesn't require mowing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then as far as a mini excavator, I don't know for sure if the city has one. They probably just have a big one, but I'm sure there's somebody in the community that might be willing to volunteer a couple hours, maybe a few hours. I'll check around. I know a couple of folks that do have them, but let me see what can come up with.
Okay, would it be possible to use any city equipment moving forward to work on landscaping and just getting the basic foundation of the pump track in place?
Yeah, yeah. I would think we'd be able to do that, on an as available basis. We could set aside some time and let, when we have time in between projects or something, we could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, just I guess what I'm thinking about is particularly with the rock removal, and then just reshaping and improving what's over there and getting a start on the landscaping. I think getting a backhoe over there would be really helpful. Workers could get rocks in piles, and then if we could have a backhoe come by and scoop them up and put them in a trailer or a dump truck and get them out of here, that would be huge.
Yeah, something like that is
And then just
probably pretty easy, just because it's a known,
okay.
it's a known project, and you can just come by and do it in a few minutes and be gone.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. So, I guess what I would propose is that we work on a site plan that includes landscaping, the pump track, and yeah, just traffic flow, pedestrian access, and just kind of maybe come back at the next meeting with a plan that we can review and make sure it looks like we're moving in the right direction before we start doing much over there.
Get your bride to put a pen to
And
paper.
at the time being, it seems to me. Pardon?
Get your bride to put a pen to paper.
Yeah, I'll work on it with Sue. Yeah, for sure. I think we could come up with something that's a good start, just at least so we could have just a starting place that we can all refer to move forwards. At the moment, I think it is a good time to pick up some rocks. It's dry over there. It's not muddy.
Yep.
So, and just that construction debris that was mentioned, there is a bunch of 2x4s and just random debris over there. So just trying to tidy up the site and clean it as much as possible and make whatever we want to do moving forwards that much easier. And definitely before weeds and stuff start growing up and all amongst all that, it'll be easier to take care of it.
Yeah. And yeah, Brian, as a 501c3, the disc golf club could maybe take on some of that. I don't know if there's like an insurance deal that needs to be worked out with like equipment over there or something like that. Like if we could maybe have a day. I know we have an MOU for the old mill, but we could, I don't know if it worked. I mean, just spitballing stuff.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It'd probably be better for just city equipment to be in there, but I guess we do have like our own little insurance thing going on. So if we do have an operator that can use heavy equipment. So
yeah, my only concern is, like I think I mentioned to Eugene, was making sure we don't damage the sidewalk with the large equipment. But I think we can make that safe to do that, and then let me talk with Robert and see what he thinks with the equipment he has, and see if we can work something out.
Oh, yeah,
All right, sounds great.
it's all boxed in with sidewalk, isn't it?
Yep.
Or the asphalt for the basketball court.
Yep.
It is an interesting and questionable design in my mind because there's no place for the water to go. It has to go into the ground, otherwise it has to go over or under the sidewalks. But maybe that should be part of our site plan, is thinking about a low spot, somewhere in that rectangle where we can send water to drain.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Eugene.
Hey, thank you so much. I am so excited to see this moving forwards, and thanks for your support. It really means a lot to me. And there's a ton of kids in this community, particularly in this neighborhood right now. And I know as soon as we have something rideable, there's going to be a whole bunch of kids over there. And I think it's going to feel really rewarding to everyone that's involved in here tonight. So thanks for that.
All right, thanks, Eugene.
Thank you, Gene.
So we'll move on to 2.2, which is Banner Park EV Station, and I think Linda's going to speak to that one.
Sure. I kind of started the ball rolling here by contacting Lane Electric, and it's taken a while, but so far they're willing to pay for a visit by Durst Energy, and their business is designing EV charging stations. So what they're going to do is draft a plan, which can then be presented to the Lane Electric board to seek funding for the EV charging stations. And they will be up there tomorrow morning, and we're gonna take a look at the site, and GMD Electric has been called, and a local contractor to take a look with them. So we're moving along.
Great to hear it, Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, I'm looking forward to the visit tomorrow and hopefully convincing Lane Electric Board to fund. And if not, there's a couple other things that I've kind of longer range ones I've been working on, but that'd be great to get Lane Electric pitched in. And once we do that, if we get approval to do that, I think it'll drive some of the design of what we do with the rest of Banner Park that we've been kind of knocking around here. So be interesting to see what happens there. Anything else on Banner Park before we leave it?
Yeah, I'll just mention something I had been talking with you about, Brian, which is I spotted a permaculture design course at OSU in the continuing ed department, and I would like to sign up for that. I'll pay for it myself. And one of the end results of taking the class would be a design. And I asked them, could I use a city park for my project? And they said, yeah, if you can access the site and you have permission of the owner. And so I spoke, of course, with Brian. I spoke with Bobby Whitney and with Mayor Holston to let him know I was thinking of this. And so far, those three folks said, sure. What I would do is then donate the design to the city. And during the 10-week course, I would be seeking input from you guys. And I was hoping Charlie would be here this evening. I think he has a pretty strong interest in gardening, but it's sort of a holistic approach to a plot of land where you integrate an interdisciplinary approach and come up with what that landscape would look like with a new design. So I'm open to questions or comments or feedback.
I think it's great to get into the permaculture business here. And I think we should push forward with that. And Linda is involved in so much already, and she's tackling another court. That's awesome, Linda, that you're able.
It's a personal interest, so yeah.
Yeah.
Keep out of trouble in the fall.
Yeah, and you'll get some more knowledge in your head. Lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that'd be so cool. Then you can be like sort of the master gardener or master permaculturalist of the area to maybe even tackle some other projects or whatever. Yeah, we got stuff going.
Hugo
on.
culture on every corner, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're kind of working on that, aren't we?
There has to be some sort of plaque dedicated to Linda if this goes to fruition.
I'd say.
All right, let's not get out of hand, okay?
Permanent legacy. Yeah. That's great, Linda. I'm looking forward to it. And, obviously you can have access to the park as you need. From my perspective, I don't think anyone's going to say no to that. Anything else on Banner?
I don't think so.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to, I wanted to just put them there for the awareness of this committee about WAC closure implications. So as you know, council through the budget discussion or budget cycle, one of their reductions in expenditures was to close the WAC with the exception of the gymnasium. I asked for a little time, so it wasn't a fiscal year, pull the trigger, because we have tenants in there. So I asked for 6 months, which they gave me. So I have till the end of December to close the WAC. I'm concerned about it, and I wasn't very supportive of that particular reduction because we have some sort of community critical people that use that. One being the senior center, and the other being the food box, which does a lot for the less fortunate in the community. And I sat down with the food box folks, and because the assumption by the council was they'll find some other place to go, but after speaking with them, that no place, even the churches that probably aren't going to donate their space full time, don't have the facilities to support, because she needs a refrigerator and the kitchen and the whole 9 yards and storage. So I'm a little concerned about that aspect of it, and unfortunately, I don't have any easy solutions. In addition, the senior center, we might be able to find a spot that they can hang out, but it's not going to be quite as convenient and best or located that way. So just something for this committee to think about. We also operated our warming center there, which is reliant on volunteers. So we weren't open a lot this past winter because of COVID and the reluctance to operate the warming center. But that's not going to stay that way forever. We do still have the pallet huts and a closed circuit camera on them, which we could relocate. But so I suppose we could, use the gymnasium to operate a warming center. And then, the theater, the idea was everyone loves the theater, and they wanted to keep the gymnasium partially for that and partially for a large meeting space. But one of the difficulties there is if you go cold iron on the rest of the building, how do you heat the gymnasium? And I think they're separate HVAC systems, but the electrical systems are something else. So it's something we're going to have to work through at the staff level on how to do that gracefully. But I'm still considering, I'm going to try to bring it back to council to see if they'll extend that thought a little bit of, extend the, how long before they close the WAC. So just for this community's awareness, since kind of is part of your title, community services. So any discussion or thoughts on that?
Well, I'm sure the food box and the senior center folks, or Councilor Whitney, have looked all over the community. So I don't doubt that we've come up with nothing. So it does kind of fall back to the council to understand the consequences of their request to close.
Yeah, I'd like to bring Bev in there just to kind of let them understand what the impact is and how difficult to relocate or find a place to relocate would be. We are in discussion with St. Vincent de Paul. They're doing kind of perhaps convince them to sort of come back into the game and maybe play a part in this and make it so it doesn't have to immediately close. And I don't know. So more on that later. I guess in the next few sessions, we'll hit council with a presentation with Bev and let them see the real impacts.
So it's basically just a matter of the utilities there, paying for the utilities. Is that kind of the budgetary concern?
Yeah. Initially, it was the labor to keep it clean, and the utilities were the primary, and insurance, primary cost drivers. I found a guy that's a tenant of the place to actually do in-kind payments for his rent. So he's cleaning it now, starting today. So that expense has gone away. But the utilities are really the big one. And it cost about, all told, with I think insurance and the whole budget for the place is like $65K. And it brings in, not very much revenue because we get pretty good deals to the nonprofits that operate out of there. So
65K a year, basically.
I think that's the savings that we came up with. That's just off the top of my head. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Brian, and thanks everybody else. I have another meeting that I'm heading up, the Headwaters Harvest Festival Committee. So I gotta go, if that's okay with everybody, at 6 o'clock. I got another.
Well,
I'm always double booked.
we'll
So
lose
it's-
the forum,
Probably
but
do, Jason.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jason.
All right, have a good one, everybody.
Anything on new business at all? Okay. Hearing nothing. The next meeting for your calendars, the 11th at 5:30, and it'll still be virtual unless we want to change things up from a committee perspective. But I think it's pretty easy and convenient to do it virtually.
Can I ask a question about Diamond View Park before this meeting concludes?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, I'm just curious, since we were talking about just how to move forwards here. Would it be, does it work for you for us to get over there and clean up some rocks? And can I just get in touch with you at the city, or what do I need to do to move forwards over there? I've just been kind of leaving it alone until I heard otherwise.
I'll let Public Works know that there might be volunteers over there collecting rocks and piling them up somewhere. And
Okay,
you guys can go do that.
okay.
Without interruption. And then if we get a big enough pile, I'll see when we can pull it away.
Okay, sounds good. And then Linda, I was interested in what you're talking about regarding permaculture and Banner Park. Would you be interested in coming over and looking at the landscaping potential over at Diamond Park to help kind of just get us going in some sort of general direction with what might be, low maintenance and a good start?
Yeah, sure. I think, yeah, the whole thing needs to settle first, and maybe in the spring, would be the time to install something, just like dust it with chips or something for now and then to prevent erosion. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of open space there, to work with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I'll contact you outside of the meeting, but maybe we can meet over there sometime and think about how to, what to do so we can get through the winter with minimum weed growth and good success with doing something, starting whenever you think it would be appropriate.
Okay.
But yeah, I know the soil will be disturbed and something's going to want to start growing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. I just appreciate everybody's support and interest in that project. And I see Leo there. He didn't say anything, but I'm happy you're here and look forward to working on this with you as well.
Sounds good.
All right. Any last wooden nickels from the committee before we sign off? All right. Thanks, everybody. And we will see you around, and not before the next meeting.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.